fashion.
What's going on, friends? Welcome to another installment, another episode of Get to Know. My name is Enoch. I just fresh off of my new album. You okay there?
I'm never gonna be okay after that. I have a really dry sense of humor, so that was like the best thing I've seen ever, I think.
I was contemplating on playing that, and my wife was like, "Don't do it. Don't do it."
I'm crying.
She's the type of temperament where she says no initially to everything, and I'm like a phlegmatic, sanguine phlegmatic. I'm just like, whatever, I don't care. So
I'm literally crying. I'm crying. I'm laughing so hard. So thank you. That was awesome.
Maybe I'll play it at the end too, as Mike goes up. So I go by the name. Let's start over. I go by the name of Enoch, and I just fresh off my new album, Days Vault. Y'all can check it out. I appreciate it. And another episode of Get to Know. And today I have wife, mother, podcaster, YouTuber. She graces us with her presence at Avoiding Babylon's Trivia. Graces with her presence at Meaning of Catholics. She's just everywhere, does everything. Welcome to Get to Know Angela Erickson, and her husband is the lineman for the Vikings. Incredible.
Yeah, I know. He is pretty amazing. He's on the bench a lot. You won't ever see him out on the field, but so don't be looking for him.
If the lights go out in the stadium, he's ready to go.
He'll be on it. He will be on it. Yes. Oh my goodness. You know what though? You're not the only person that has ever asked. I think almost any time I tell someone that my husband is a lineman, they always ask what team he plays for, not realizing that he's an electrical lineman, so he's out working on power lines.
Right, yeah, and that's actually more important than a lineman of the football team.
Your power goes out, you want a lineman. Yeah. You
don't want a lineman from the Vikings. You want Lars. That's his name, right?
You want Lars. Yeah.
That's right. You want Lars. Great. So, but today we're going to talk about you and getting to know you a little bit more. Let's start off just from the very beginning. Do you mind telling us what decade you were born
in? I am a 90s baby.
You're a 90s baby. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's great. So growing up, what kind of childhood did you have? Like, first of all, where did you grow up? Was it Minnesota still? Were you like born and raised there?
Yeah. So I grew up in central Minnesota. Actually, at first I was just outside of the Twin Cities, and then my mom remarried, and so we moved out into the boonies a little bit more. Actually, not too far from where I live now. But then later on moved even further west, and then we were really pretty much living in a cornfield. So slowly moved out. Yeah, Haley, the best ever. That was the best intro I've experienced. Oh, yeah, so I was born in 92.
92, okay. So how many siblings did you have growing up?
Let's see. I had, oh my goodness, sorry. I had 5 siblings. So let's see. There were 6 of us growing up. So 5 siblings. And then when I was 13, my mom had my youngest brother. So he's actually 16 now. So I have 6 siblings. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. And are you the oldest, second oldest?
I'm a middle child, just always starving for attention, doing everything we can to be noticed.
Got it. Yeah, no. I get it.
Just that's like Anthony,
That's good. Is he a middle child? I think he's a middle child, right?
He is. Yes, he is.
Okay.
No, he's a middle child for sure.
That does explain a lot. So moving on, did you have your own room, or did you have to share a room with 4 different people?
So, with 4. Okay, so I shared a room with my twin sister until we moved.
You have a twin?
I do.
Fraternal?
Mm-hmm. Fraternal twin, yep.
So do I. That's funny.
Shut up. We have the same life. It is
we're the
so
same person.
Weird. We're basically we're the twins. Okay, so so yes, I have a twin sister. And we shared a room until I was until we moved out into the way boonies. And then I got my own room in that house because I was the only one that kept my bedroom clean. So I got like a big room with a nice closet to myself, basically.
Well, you get rewarded when you do a good deed. That's great.
Right. Yeah.
And what kind of, were you like a rambunctious child or calm? Did you give your parents any trouble growing up?
I actually, this might surprise anyone who's seen my work at all, anyone who's paid any attention to me, but I was a very good child. I was extremely obedient, and even my mom will say, like, I was very much, I listened. I was a truth teller. I've always been a truth teller, and they didn't really have to worry a whole lot about me. Even though there was a part of me that always wanted to get in trouble. I just never really did.
You couldn't bring yourself to do it.
No, my guilty conscience is so strong. Like, I am the person, like, I talk worse to myself than I would talk to like anyone else. So even as a young child, I definitely was like, I was deathly afraid, especially of my mom, but deathly afraid of getting into trouble. So
okay. Now, so it's kind of funny because like there are some people that are just like with my kids, my oldest is like that. I just have to look at him and it's over. He just
that sounds so nice. I don't have a kid like that yet.
My third is nowhere near that, so he's making up for all that stuff. So, but so growing up in the 90s, let's move on to kind of like adolescent time. What were your favorite cartoons growing up, or did you even watch TV?
Yeah, so let's see. I mean, come like middle school, more of that adolescence, I didn't really watch a lot of cartoons. There was like one obscure cartoon that I thought was hilarious. I think it was on Cartoon Network, but it wasn't on there for very long. It was called Dave the Barbarian. I don't know if you remember it. It was super dry humor. So like,
no, never.
I have very much like that very dry Irish British humor. And it was hilarious. Funny. It was such a funny show, and it was so obscure, and it didn't last very long. Apparently we were the only kids watching it or something. I don't know, but that was probably like my favorite cartoon at that time. But really we watched a ton of music videos. Like that was what I watched, was a ton of music videos.
You were an MTV baby. Okay.
Well, kind of. I mean, I didn't. No. I had a pretty eclectic taste, but normally fused TV. I was kind of a punk, so I liked more of the emo music, rock. But I would listen to rap. Like I had a sister that was very much into rap. So I sort of like, I don't know, absorbed that a little bit.
Got it. How did you do in school, like growing up? Were you a straight A student or just struggle?
I wouldn't say I struggled too much, but I didn't apply myself sometimes. So I was like a B average student for a lot of the time. And then, I mean, it was either B's or A's. If I got a C, I was very disappointed in myself. And I definitely heard about it from my mom if I fell below that threshold. But I was super involved in school, and I worked from the time I was like, I don't know, 15, 14. So I sort of was always given the benefit of the doubt because I had a lot of other things going on. My first job, I detasseled corn at like 14, coming into my 15th birthday. And then I was a waitress at a pizza place. So, I've always worked. So I was definitely given some leeway a little bit with the grades. Otherwise I would have totally been expected to be a straight A student. I probably would have been.
So, sticking to that decade, were there like any, like, because our parents used to feed us, like 90s wasn't great when it comes to healthy foods. I mean, you had Tony the Tiger cereal. You had what was that? The strudel stuff that you would have to glaze.
Toaster strudels,
yeah,
man.
Toaster strudels.
Yeah.
Do you remember those?
Yeah, that was like a delicacy. I was just like, like that one time a year, where maybe we get, but it was gone in like 30 seconds. So my mom didn't buy the super good stuff. I mean, we'd get Cheerios, we'd get Wheaties, every once in a while Apple Jacks or something. But if we got the toaster strudels, like that was gone in a day. So that stuff doesn't stay around in a house of 6
Golden
kids.
Grams were my jam.
Golden, that's so funny. I was like, Golden Grams were good, but let's see, what would have been my favorite? Maybe Lucky Charms. I don't know.
Okay, Lucky Charms.
Maybe,
there you go.
Maybe. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Pop-Tarts had real fruit in them.
Yeah, and same with fruit roll-ups, man. They weren't like those fruit leather things that you get these days. That stuff is just that's
That's
silly.
right. Okay, so moving on to like pop culture. You said you liked punk rock type music. Now, you have favorite artists that you grew up listening to?
Oh man. I've always loved music.
Mhm.
So it's hard to say what a favorite is. Maybe Shinedown, like their old albums.
Mhm.
Their older albums I thought were like the best ever. But I listened to everything from like Taking Back Sunday to Hawthorne Heights to The Used and then like everything else in between. I mean, I liked country a lot. So
Mhm.
Little Big Town sort of got me back into country music. Garth Brooks has always been just, you can't go wrong with Garth.
Classic.
He's classic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I liked a little bit of everything. Yeah. I mean, it had to be really bad if I did. I mean, I know this is subjective, but it had to be objectively really bad if I didn't like it at all.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. And you said you got into a little bit of rap. Any artists that you like listening to growing up?
Any rap artists?
Mhm.
Let's see. Oh man. I heard a lot of Eminem growing up.
Most
um,
people.
and I feel like the rest of it was just like, you know, whatever was out on the radio. I didn't really seek it out because so much of it was vulgar. Um, there wasn't a lot of Catholic rappers growing up, so
There's only one.
so I mean, there wasn't a lot of that. That was honestly the biggest thing that what always turned me off from rap and things like that was just the vulgarity of it. I've always been very sensitive to that. But the thing that I've always been able to appreciate, and this is maybe more from a communications perspective, but the alliteration that is required for good rap music to have the right sound and rhythm, that's actually really hard to do, to make it to have the same vowel sounds and the same endings for a line, things like that, to have the right beat. And people don't really appreciate that so much unless they're familiar with music,
Sure.
songwriting, things like that. So that's
Correct. Yeah.
good rap music. It's good alliteration and has a good beat and rhythm. So yeah, props to
Very
you.
nice.
I'm a fan. I'm actually genuinely a fan of
Thank
your
you.
music.
So would you say that Enoch's your favorite Catholic rapper right now?
Absolutely. I know you ask every time, and yes, I'm here to say you are my favorite Catholic rapper.
Good. Yeah, I'm like 7 out of 8 so far. Rob and Anthony said Father Stan, which I'm not mad at because he's the OG, he's the originator, so which is great.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have a lot of respect for him. So did you also write music, play any instruments growing up?
This is a really good question. Yes, I played an instrument growing up. I always wanted to do percussion, but because I was, yes, my favorite rapper is a favorite rapper. Oh, who's my favorite rapper is rapper?
No. Got distracted.
Yes. Okay. So
Thanks, Simon.
sorry, maybe you can hear my kids pounding on the door.
All
So let's see. So when growing up, I wanted to play percussion very, very badly. So my biological dad is actually a phenomenal drummer. He's a great percussionist. So I think there was part of me that just wanted to sort of embody something that he did. And we were in a small band, like our school band was very tiny at that time when I first started to get into music. And in hindsight, my music teacher manipulated me into playing an instrument that nobody else would play. Yeah, somebody's Mac, I love you. You're the best.
He's hilarious.
He is the best. Same with Jeff, the Supreme Pontiff.
Yeah,
they're good.
Woody.
They're just so good. But my band teacher manipulated me into playing an instrument that I didn't really care for playing. And so I played baritone in like high school band. That's what I played. It was a baritone. Until probably 9th or 10th grade when I decided that band was for lazy students and I decided to stop doing band. But really, I would have probably stayed if I'd been playing an instrument that I was like actually passionate about.
Sure. Got it. And Now, does your dad play? Because I heard like one of the hardest things to play is jazz drums.
Honestly, I have no idea. He
Right.
he and I don't have a great relationship, to be honest.
Okay.
Here, I'm gonna yeah. So I mean, we don't talk very much. I don't know as much. I know he was like he played drums for like marching band and all kinds of stuff. And whenever I remember as a child watching him drum away, like when we were in the car and stuff, and thinking, wow. Like, in
Mm,
hindsight, like he was really, really good at it. I
right.
don't know much more than that though.
Sure. Okay. So growing up, other than just playing hobbies, was there anything like extracurricular that you did at school, like sports?
Mm.
That's I know some girls do that, or anything that's like after school type stuff, other than band. Like you said, you did that a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, I did a little bit of band. I did track for maybe 6 years. I was a sprinter and a
Oh
jumper,
wow.
and a relayist. And then I also did competitive speech, super nerdy, but it was the best thing I've probably ever done. And I did a high school musical. I was in my senior year of high school. I finally decided to do this because, again, I love music, but also I wanted to push myself in terms of public speaking, kind of. And I
Mm,
figured if I can sing in front of other people, then I can do public speaking just fine because I actually had a very strong fear of public speaking. So
mm.
my twin sister and I both had lead roles in a high school musical together our senior year. So
What was the musical?
the musical was Little Women, actually. So
Oh, okay,
I was
okay.
the oldest sister, Meg,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she was Beth, and she died.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. So, um, so moving on now, of course, towards the high school. Did you? What high school did you go to? Local high school, obviously.
Yeah, so no Catholic high school. I like I said, I was out in the middle of nowhere, and I went to Dassel Cokato High School, which is literally in a cornfield.
Oh yeah, I heard of that
Yeah.
before.
No, you haven't.
I haven't.
No way.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what that is.
It's a
What did
cornfield.
you got it? So what was it like? Agriculture studying? Or
FFA was huge, by the way, and we
uh,
did have a drive your tractor to school day. So
no way.
yeah, no, for real, we
That
did.
would be cool.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Lots of farmers would bring their tractors to school that day.
So you did you grow up in a farm? Would you
So
would say?
we kind of had a hobby farm.
Okay.
My mom is a city girl, so she
Mm,
bought a hobby farm with grandiose ideas about all the things she would do on this farm. We
sure.
had probably 40 acres or so of land, and it stretched back to a
That's a
lake.
lot. That's great.
Hmm. And we had two miniature horses,
No way.
a few chickens, and
Yeah.
a goat that killed most of our chickens.
Well, yeah, that happens. That's okay.
Hmm.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's really cool. So were you like, did you have to get up early were you the one responsible to feed the chickens, collect eggs, or was that more for the boys?
Yeah, we would take turns kind of
Okay.
doing that. It didn't seem it doesn't strike me as like a huge prominent thing. So my husband grew up on a dairy farm, and the types of
Mhm.
chores that he had to do early in the morning and the work that he was doing, I feel like I can't
Yeah.
even compare to that. So yeah, going out and throwing out some chicken feed and collecting eggs and maybe feeding the goat when she hadn't escaped,
Got it.
that was pretty small stuff.
Wow. Okay. Did you just recently hear about the dairy plant that blew up in New York?
No, no, I
Yeah, there
didn't.
was there was debris everywhere.
You would. You would. You set me up.
It did. All right, so continue on in high school. As far as pop culture goes, what did you grow up watching on TV? Like, what was your
Hmm.
main go-to after school or even on the weekends? Did you like sitcoms or reality TV shows?
Yeah, honestly, probably still music videos. That's pretty much it. I'm trying to think of I never really got into a lot of sitcoms or anything.
Okay.
There's nothing I sat down and religiously watched. I had siblings who did.
Mhm.
Like one of my sisters watched One Tree Hill every week, and anything on the CW that was her go-to. Gilmore Girls and all kinds
Right.
of stuff. I just have never. I've always loved to read and things like that. So that was generally what I would do if I had spare time.
Got it. Do you have a favorite movie growing up?
That's a good question. I'm so boring. I don't know that I did. I seriously, even now, I watch TV maybe half a dozen times a year, like 6 times a year. Maybe I'll watch a movie. I'm weird.
Got
I'm
it.
super weird, but
Well, you're busy.
yeah.
You stay busy. You do so much, which is great. So what college did you attend, and what did you major in?
So my freshman year of college, I attended St. Thomas University, which is or the University of St. Thomas here in the Twin Cities.
Oh,
But I
cool.
couldn't afford it. It was, like I had a pretty
Small
decent
stuff.
scholarship, but I couldn't afford it, private
Mhm.
Catholic university. So I ended up leaving and going to St. Cloud State University, which is a state college that I swore I would never go to, but God had other plans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he knew. It was almost like he heard me in high school going, "I'm never gonna go there," and he was like, "Oh no, you are.
Oh
You're
yeah.
gonna go there." And I graduated with a degree in mass communications advertising, and I also had a minor in communication studies. And my minor was the emphasis was argumentation and persuasion, rhetoric and
Oh wow.
argumentation. Mhm.
That's awesome. And where did you meet your husband now, Lars? Did you college or before college, after college?
Before college, actually, I met him. It was the end of my senior year of high school. I actually was friends with a couple. No. So I actually met my husband my senior year of high school.
Oh wow.
I was friends with 2 of his sisters before we met, and I
Okay.
met him at the younger sister's graduation party. So that was the first time we met, and then it's kind of history from there. We started going out on dates after that, and here we are. We've been married almost 10. It'll be 10 years this year that we've been
Gotcha.
married.
Did you ever like do that AOL chat? Remember that? Did you ever chat
No,
through like AOL? No, was that
no, my mom.
after your
I
time?
was not allowed to do anything like that. So I was so I dated this guy for like 3.5 years, and I had basically become a part of his family. His dad gave me a phone that was on like their company phone plan, and he
Mhm.
knew my mom did not know about it. He didn't care. And I remember the day that my mom found out was like the worst day of my life. And no, I was not allowed anything.
That's a good one, Haley.
I remember also the day my mom found out I had an email. It might have been the same time too, even sort of like everything kind of came out when my mom realized I had a cell phone. And then she realized that I had an email address too. And then I accidentally outed my sister for also having an email address because I was like,
No.
I only have like 4 people on my email contacts. It's, the boyfriend and Caroline, my twin sister, and somebody else. And my mom's like, wait,
Yeah.
what? Caroline has an email? It's like, oh shoot.
Well, it was an accident.
It was an accident. Caroline was not mad, but Caroline, if you're watching this, I'm sorry.
You got the family secrets.
Yes, yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible. As a teenager, it was the worst day of my life.
Oh, okay. So you weren't allowed to the phones and emails. So when did you get your driver's license? 18, 16?
16.
16. Okay. So you did the normal stuff.
Because I was working,
Okay.
So
Got it. And how long did you and Lars date before he popped the question?
Let's see. It's probably about 3.5 years.
Okay.
I would say 3.5 years. I don't know. We had a short engagement. Our engagement was 7 months long. So that's like as much as I remember. It was around 3 years.
Okay. And how did he? What was the proposal like? Was it like nice and awesome, or was it just like casual? Hey, you want to get married?
Okay, so he totally tricked me.
Nice.
He asked my parents for their permission in advance, and I
Good for him.
don't know if I knew yet or if I knew that much even, but the day he decided to propose to me, he took me to a jewelry store because we had been talking about getting married,
Mhm.
and he wanted to have an idea of the kind of ring I was interested in having. And so he paraded me around the store basically and was talking about all these different things, and I was telling him I like this style of ring, and he kept going, aren't you, do you think maybe you'd like this kind of ring? I don't know why that wasn't a tip off. And we ended up going to dinner at a really nice restaurant, and he proposed to me down on one knee in the restaurant. We were kind of tucked away in a corner a little bit, but people definitely saw, which if you knew my husband, he is, yes, I do homeschool. He is one of the most quiet and introverted people I know. So the fact that he like did that publicly and got down on his knee I honestly don't even remember what he said because I was in complete shock. I was so confused. Like we were just looking at rings and now you have a ring. So he had the ring in his pocket the whole time that we were at the jewelry store, and he thought that I wasn't going to like the ring he got after I started gravitating towards something else. And then he thought it would like fall out or something. He was so stressed out about it. But it was awesome because my parents happened to also be in the Twin Cities that night too. So they were visiting my grandparents. And so they came afterwards after he had proposed, and they celebrated with us afterwards at the restaurant that we were at.
So awesome.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
He did a great job.
Well, that's great. That's like he died to himself to do something special, even though that's not what that's really great. Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. I tricked my wife too when I proposed. So
Did you?
Oh yeah, I did for sure. Yeah. So
well, now you have to tell everyone what you did.
Okay. So we used to be big Disney fans. We lived in San Diego. San Diego. So we drive to Disney once a month. Good Disney passes back in the days before I became trad. And so she said that she wanted me before it stopped being cool. Yeah. So she said she wanted me to propose to her at Disneyland. So I had a concert. It was a Saturday, and we were going to go to Disneyland after Mass on Sunday. So I said, get ready, wear something nice. We're going to Disneyland on Sunday. So she's thinking he's proposing on Sunday at Disneyland. And so she came to the concert. I called her up on stage. She had no idea I had the ring in my pocket. So I proposed to her on stage in front of the crowd while I was performing. So she thought it was going to be the next day. So I did. So I tricked her. She had no idea, which was great.
Oh, I love that so much. Yeah. Good job.
Which is completely opposite of what she wanted, but it's fine. She's like an introvert too.
Who cares? No, I'm sure. Oh. You know what? For me, I like to be surprised. So, good surprises, not bad surprises. Sometimes kids have bad surprises, but I'm thinking to my kids, their surprises are not great. But yeah, no, good surprises are the best.
Good. Okay, so moving on. Were you always naturally minded, like when it comes to like, do you have your children at a hospital the natural way, or do you have a home birth? What type?
Yeah, so my first 4 kids were born in the hospital, and my first 2, I had like an epidural. My next 2 were all natural, so to speak. I didn't have any pain medication. And then because of COVID, that was like that really pushed me over, and I decided with my 5th to have a home birth. So that was my first. Yeah.
First home birth. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
What was your experience? Was it different than the hospitals, or was you just get this kid out?
No, actually, this was my worst labor, I'd probably say.
Wow.
But it was the best experience. Like, that sounds crazy and weird. If you're a husband, if you've watched your wife give birth, or if you're a woman watching and you've given birth, that doesn't make any sense. I was in labor for maybe 40, 45 hours. Wow. It was a couple of days. That was my longest labor. And I think part of that was because I did not, is where I get super honest, I guess. I had not wanted to be pregnant at all with my 5th. My 4th kiddo was extremely difficult. And so I think just psychologically, I was really struggling with the idea of having another kid because I was like still mentally and emotionally trying to heal from my 4th child. That sounds kind of bad. He was super colicky, so he didn't sleep for like the first probably 15 months of his life. And so I was deathly afraid of having another kid like him, basically, and not sleeping anymore because it literally made me crazy. I thought I would end up in an institution. And so God, in his wisdom. I got pregnant. That was my biggest fear. And then, in fact, I'd had a meeting with my priest beforehand, a couple of weeks before I found out I was pregnant. And I told him everything. And I was like, I just feel like a horrible mom. I feel like a horrible Catholic because I'm not really open to life right now. 2 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant. And I told my priest almost right away. And he called me laughing. Like, literally, I was just in your office bawling 2 weeks ago and you're laughing. And he was like, are you okay? And I said, I'm as fine as I can be, you know, it is what it is. And he started laughing and he said, God is so good. And honestly, he is. Like, I mean, anyone who watches my channel, they see Veronica on there all the time. But she's
so sweet.
She has healed so much of my heart.
Like tend to do that.
Yes, you know, it sort of like reminded me of that surrender that we're supposed to have to God's infinite wisdom, and that God can take our biggest fear and use it in a way that is really redemptive. So I thank God every single day that he allowed that, because I wouldn't have. I would have. I mean, I did. I resisted that. So anyway, I think that's why my labor was so long. I just psychologically was afraid.
Sure.
But then once I had her, and it was like the best experience ever, I'd never go back. If we have more kids, it will be home birth unless there's some indicating factor. But 100% home birth, recommend it.
That's beautiful. No, thank you for sharing that. I because postpartum depression is real. And it's like,
is it rare?
No, I said real. It's really real.
Real. Yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely not rare, I don't think, but it is real. And if you don't have the support that you need, and you're not nourishing yourself or sleeping, those things have to be in place. Otherwise, you'll go crazy, literally.
No, no, it's so true. Yeah. Women and the gift that they have that to co-create is just that's so beautiful. I love it.
It's amazing.
It is, absolutely. So let's take a quick break and do something kind of fun, and then we'll move on to faith. Okay. Now you are an Office fan.
Oh my goodness, yes.
How much?
But like I said,
yeah.
So I'm a huge fan of The Office. The only bar crawl I've ever been on was an Office bar crawl, just so I could walk around with a little speaker in my purse that played music from different episodes of The Office. And so I could dance around like Michael Scott in that episode at the boombox when he turns the downstairs into a club.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Cafe disco.
Cafe disco. But, but so that was me. Was Prison Mike, and yes. I love The Office, but I have to admit, again, this is going back to the whole like Angela never watches TV, so my memory is not the best, but I love The Office, and it's my favorite. It is the only show I will watch with any regularity.
Can we do a trivia?
Yes,
trivia right now.
We can try. I might fail, but I'll do my best.
Let's give it a shot. Let's see what you could do here. All right. Let's see here. Let me see if I can share a screen here.
Okay.
All right, let's see here.
I just played an Office.
Can you see that?
Trivia game. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. The Good Housekeeping. Are you kidding me? Oh, this is very misogynistic already. Just kidding.
Don't you know who I am? I wrote a song called Patriarchy.
Yeah.
I mean, give me a break.
No, I was going to say, too, in the Unite the Clans, I don't think there's a single woman referenced in your song. There's
only one. Yes. Yeah,
Kristen
Nicole. Kristen Nicole.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, there's only one.
I don't know who that is. Kristen Nicole. Who's that? I don't know.
She was in the first Master of the Ages.
Oh, yes, dude. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know her last name.
Yeah. So let's go with the first one, okay? Let's start with the easy one.
Oh my gosh, obviously beats Bears Battlestar Galactica, obviously.
Okay, you got that one right, correct.
The second one.
Okay.
Ryan
Who started
the fire?
Good job.
Yeah.
How did they start the fire?
Dude, the cheese pita in the toaster oven.
That's right. You're doing great so far. What is the name of Angela's favorite cat?
Sprinkles.
Good job. In This Perfect Crime, Dwight mentions a fictional girl. What is her name?
Ooh, this is a tough one. I'm going to say Jessica.
Oh, it's Tiffany.
Is it Tiffany? Shoot.
Yeah. Remember? He's
at Tiffany's and he steals the jewelry and he comes down. Okay,
That's
yes,
right.
Shoot. You're right.
Kelly has a lot of questions. Number 1.
How dare you?
What kind of passport does Creed have?
Oh my goodness. I'm going to say Swiss.
Correct. And Creed's my favorite character, by the way.
So he's my twin sister's favorite character as well. So you guys are dark people.
Oh yeah, definitely. What does Jim hide Dwight's stapler in?
Oh, Jell-O, obviously. Yeah.
What vegetable does the group replace Creed's apple with without him noticing? Do you remember that one?
I think it's an onion.
It's a potato.
Is it a potato? Yeah. Shoot.
It's all right. What is the name of Michael's film?
Oh, duh. Threat Level Midnight.
Good job. All right. How many minutes did Michael work at Dunder Mifflin? Think of the song.
Oh,
season 7, one of the last episodes after the Dundies. They all get up and they sing.
Oh, I'm gonna say 9,986,000.
Yep. That's right.
That's right. Okay.
What is Plop's real name?
Pete.
Good job. What does Prison Mike say is the worst thing about
the Dementors? The Dementors. I have a shirt that has Prison Mike on it.
Who filmed the footage of Scranton shown in the opening scene?
I'm going to guess Jenna Fisher.
No, it was actually John.
No, was it? I didn't know that.
How was the show's theme song chosen?
I'm not sure, but I'm going to guess Mindy Kaling because she was like a producer.
She was, yeah, absolutely. We'll go all the way to 20. What does Michael offer Scott?
Lithium batteries.
That was so great.
Yeah, Scott's Tots.
It's lithium. What season did Michael leave the show?
Season 7.
Correct. Who is Big Tuna?
Jim.
That's right. Which episode was the hardest to film because the cast couldn't stop laughing?
Oh, man. I don't know, but if I had to guess, it would be the dinner party.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was hilarious. You gotta see you gotta see the bloopers on that one. They're hysterical. All right, last one. Where does Jim propose to Pam?
At a gas station.
Correct. Good job. You did excellent.
Thank you.
You got like almost all of them.
I think I missed 2. Sorry, I have a kid. I think
that's okay.
What do you want?
Veronica's crying.
Oh yeah, they're informing me that the baby is crying, which.
Oh, do you need to go take care?
She's got a dad. No.
We took our break. Now we're going to move on.
All right.
Let's talk about faith. Cradle Catholic, always been Catholic. Convert, revert.
Yeah. So my husband is a convert. I have always been Catholic.
Nice.
Yeah. That's been my life.
And other than Our Lady, who would be your favorite saint? You can't pick her.
I know, because that's like a cop out, kind of, isn't it? That's really tough. I'd probably say Saint Padre Pio. Honestly,
Pio.
I think he was kind of the first saint that I ever really read about, and he's always been there. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Got it. Do you have a favorite pope in history?
This might be somewhat controversial, maybe because I don't know enough about some of the other popes. And this is where I'll claim ignorance. I don't know enough about previous popes, but I do have a love and admiration of Saint Pope John Paul II.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not always. We have our second child is named after him, but
JP.
Yeah, JP too, man.
John Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why not? Holy man, I think.
I think it's been really interesting to see some of the commentary after the passing of Pope Benedict the 16th. I think it's been very unfortunate. It seems to me that there's a tendency right now in the church to reduce people to their maybe worst moments. And I would hope and pray that when I die, that is not how people would approach my death. I think that's kind of ugly to do that.
It is. No, I agree with you. I think overall, Pope Benedict, Cardinal Ratzinger, God rest his soul, was a net positive. He did make some mistakes. He had some
we
problems,
all
I think
do.
He was a net, yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's
He's
the
human.
thing that has been really irksome, I guess you could say, is that we all have our faults. And I understand that we should hold people who are, in positions of authority to a higher degree. However, I wouldn't say that anything he did, even when he was wrong, was as damaging to the church as our own actions with those that we encounter on a day-to-day basis. So I don't know. That's been really sad. I wish we'd look inwards more often than we point our fingers.
Yeah, I forget what saint who said this. He said something along the lines of, if you have the tongue to speak ill of someone, it's also the same tongue to lift them up in prayer. So we don't use our abilities to pray for the soul. I think there's a lot of put down, and that's a natural. When you love the church as much as a lot of people do, you want to see. Yeah. You want to see her done right by, and once someone does that, I get it. But I think there needs to be a lot more prayer and fasting for souls rather than
absolutely.
Yeah. That's 100%. I agree with you there. Okay, so continuing on with faith, you are big in the pro-life movement, I guess you would say. You do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So talk about that a little bit. And you do great work, and I have so much respect for everybody and admiration in the pro-life movement. And I did.
Yeah, you wrote a song about it, man.
I did write a song. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just have so much love for people who are fighting.
My name wasn't in there, but I'll let it pass this time.
Funny stuff. When I wrote that song, I didn't even know who Anthony or Rob were. So I wrote that song back in May.
No, you didn't. No.
I didn't meet them until July or August. So yeah, but your name would have been awesome. On it. I'll do another one with your name. We'll do a whole one.
I'm just gonna twist
with
your
the
arm.
pro-life movement.
No, so I got into pro-life work when I was a sophomore in college. Actually, the first time I ever encountered abortion in any meaningful way was in high school. I'd heard of a girl in my class who had had an abortion. I didn't particularly like this girl, so I sort of thought that was gross and ignored it. And then there were a couple other instances, but the first time it really impacted my life personally was I was 16 years old. I was standing in my boyfriend's bedroom at that time. We had been hanging out and talking about whatever. And I remember my sister called. I didn't hear from her very often. And so I answered my phone, and she had told me that she had gotten into a fight with my mom, and it had to do with her having 2 abortions. So that was my first foyer, I guess you could say, into pro-life work, and just being totally shocked that this happened. And I remember I handled it horribly, and I basically hung up on her because I didn't understand how anyone could do that. But then in college, there was a girl from my parish that kept hounding me to come to these pro-life movements. And I remember going to my first pro-life meeting, with the Students for Life group there on campus, and thinking, this is the biggest group of misfits I think I've ever seen in my life. I understand why people think you guys are weird, but I love you. There's this endearing quality about it. And so then the next year I was president of that group.
No way.
And so, yeah, no, for real. It was so moving to see this group of weirdos who were just so passionate about saving children and helping moms and stuff. And I just thought, I moved away from wanting to become a professional advertiser and work. I really wanted to work corporate Target. That was my goal. Sure. I wanted to be an advertiser. I wanted to travel the world. That was kind of my thing. I wanted to have a lot of money. Being a mom was not really on my radar, if I'm being totally honest. I mean, it occurred to me, but it was never something I thought about. It's never something I contemplated what that would look like. I just imagined myself traveling. And yeah, I ended up kind of forsaking that all to go into pro-life activism. And now here I am, a mom with 5 kids. So
that is so amazing. And by the grace of God, if you do end up making to the beatific vision, you will see how many children you actually did save.
Yeah, God willing. Yeah, God willing.
Yeah, the president, the president of all.
President of the Misfits.
Of the
Yep,
Misfits,
I have
yeah.
a love of misfits. I am a misfit at heart. So then I worked for Students for Life of America, and then I ran a pregnancy medical center, and they're actually celebrating their 10-year anniversary this year, and they're expanding right now. It's amazing. And then I worked for LifeSite News as well. I did development work for them. So, hey, Margot. But yeah,
Margot was late. I think Margot was late because she was. I think she took a stroll in Southside Chicago. That's probably why. But I think she's back now. So.
Stop. Who takes a stroll in Chicago? Yeah, I know, Margot. I'm Margot. I know. But yeah, after working for LifeSite News, and I started working from home. I've done a pro-life radio show for the last 6 years, I think, 6.5 years maybe. And now I'm a board member for that sidewalk counseling organization. It's probably actually the oldest in the country. And I will be doing some more media work for them because we've got some big projects here in Minnesota. So now I'm doing all that stuff. Yeah. No, Margot. He does it.
Don't. I love you, Margot.
It's like everyone making fun of me because I like bourbon. It's fine. I'm used to it.
Let me ask you this question. This is I don't know if you've had this question before. So I love Thomas. I love St. Thomas. I love everything about St. Thomas. I'm a big Thomistic. I love his 5 points when it comes to the existence of God. One of the things I really enjoy, one of my favorite arguments is the conscious immorality, objective morality, and wouldn't exist without God. Now, what would you say is the best argument that the pro-life movement has for life?
Boy. Okay, so that's a really good question. Because it really, so much of it depends on the person that you're talking to. But what I will say is I've interned with a lot of different organizations. I used to do campus outreach. I love talking to people about abortion. I'm weird. I think I said that before, but I'm weird. I love talking to people about abortion. And I think one of the most effective conversation starters that I have ever used in talking to people about abortion is called the 10-second apologist. And the group that sort of started using this was Justice for All, JFA. It's run by Stephen Wagner right now, but Trent Horn, I know, is familiar with their work. Also Josh Brahm over at the Equal Rights Institute, which I highly recommend the Equal Rights Institute if you're doing any sort of wanting to learn more about pro-life apologetics. They are the best. I would say they are the best in this field. But anyway, so the 10-second apologist sounds something like, well, if the unborn child is growing, then isn't it alive? And if it is alive and has 2 human parents, then it must be human, right? So if it's a living, growing human being like you and I, then why doesn't it have equal rights like you and I? And that's a great equalizer, and it gets people to stop and think about what rights we have inherent to our nature. And it doesn't necessarily rely on religion, even though it all really does come back to religion. But for even the most staunch atheist, they understand that human beings have inherent rights. And so you can start from there. It's a great way to open that conversation to what determines human value and how do you define humanness? So that's my favorite argument.
That's brilliant, because I think ultimately that's the heart of the issue, right?
Yeah. What is it? Like Scott, what is it that you're killing? So Scott Klusendorf talks about this quite a bit. And he always poses the question when somebody approaches him about, abortion. He goes, well, imagine I'm sitting at my kitchen counter and I'm washing the dishes and a child comes up to me and says, hey, Mom, can I kill it? And you don't know what they're talking about. Like your own child, you're like, well, what is it? That's your natural question. What is it? right?
Right.
And if it's a bug, sure, go ahead, kill it. But if they said
Sure.
it's my younger sibling, you'd say absolutely not. What are you thinking? You know?
I love it. That's
So,
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Yeah, no, thanks for answering that. What an eloquent, beautiful way to answer that. Thank you. Yeah. Continuing on with faith, if I gave you, I've asked this before, if I gave you unlimited amount of money and I can say you could put this in one area in the church to help the church right now, the universal church, where would you put it? Would you put it in the diocese? Would you put it in seminaries, convents? Where would you think that it would best serve the church?
Oh my goodness, that's such a good question. So I'll start off by explaining why I don't think that giving it to the diocese is the best idea.
And I agree.
So I'm trying to deduce now. So I really think that we as parents, and this is, you'll relate to this because you homeschool your kids like we do. I think we've relegated a lot of our duties to other institutions. And the same goes with the church. Parents have relegated their duties to teach and nurture their children's faith to the church. And then you end up like so many of us who were basically unchurched with the exception of going to mass on Sundays and religious side on Wednesdays. And if you were like me, your teachers were not people that you respected. They're people you thought were weird maybe, and you didn't learn much from them because you didn't take them seriously. And it wasn't reinforced in the home. So that's why I will say I wouldn't send it to the churches and send it to the diocese. But then that leaves me with like two other options. And honestly, at the end of the day,
it doesn't have to be those.
And at the end of the day, I would probably still, because like what you give it to parents, and no, they would still do the terrible job that they do now. I would say yes, send it to Supich. No, I would honestly leave it to the convents because and the monasteries because that is the most tried and true and long.
And folks, we lost our beloved Angela. Hopefully she'll come back. We're talking about where to send money. If you had unlimited money, where to send it to. And she was talking about convents and monasteries. I agree. And I would send it to the seminaries as well. And we are back.
Super weird, man. That I've never had that happen before. But yeah, that's what I would say. I'd probably send it to our religious, I think.
Sure. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. I would agree with that. And it looks like someone has the answer. What happened? It's like Supich cut her out.
Yeah, it seems like.
Either that or Rob has access to this account.
Yeah. Yes. By the way, that's a lot of fun. I've only done that once now, but I really enjoy. Oh yeah, Margot, of course. I think. Do they pay you extra every time you say something like that to encourage more funding for Mass?
They should. They should pay her extra.
Hey, Enoch, you made a song for Mass of the Ages. Is that correct?
Yes, I did. I made a song called Mass of the Ages for Mass of the Ages. I put it on the album, and I sent it to Rob. Sent it to Jake. And I got a message from them saying that they thought it was going to be cheesy, but they were surprised that it wasn't cheesy. It was actually really good. So I said, yeah, well, when you hear, hey, this Catholic rapper that you don't even know made this song.
Yeah,
maybe. Unfortunately, people associate Catholic rap or Christian rap with cheesiness.
That's so true. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Someday I'm going to have you on my podcast to talk about just creating art and music within the church because Christian music sucks a lot of the time.
I agree. Yeah. I want to do a show. I think I'm going to do that in a couple of because I really want to get it down because I spent 10 years in youth ministry, confirmation, high school ministry, 10 years in the Nova Sorda parish.
Good for you.
And I really want to talk about the major issues of youth ministry right now.
Let's talk about it, man.
Issues.
Let's talk about it. I'll have you on my podcast. We'll talk about it.
Let's do that. That would be really cool. So let's do this or that, and then we'll end the show. That's if you don't mind.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Let's do that. All right. Waffles or pancakes?
Waffles.
Got it. Okay. Steak or fish?
Ooh, steak.
Okay. Chick-fil-A or Raising Cane's?
For sure, Chick-fil-A. That's the Lord's
Okay.
chicken. Yes.
It is. Actually, I agree. Okay. You guys don't have In-N-Out over there, huh? What's the big burger joint over there?
Yeah, we don't have In-N-Out over here. I mean, what, like we do have Wahlburgers, I guess, from
Okay.
the Wahlberg family, but I've never had that. I'd say
Got it.
Wendy's, I guess. I don't know.
You have Five Guys there?
Yeah, Five Guys is pretty good. Yeah.
Five Guys is so good. They got a great
Yeah.
burger.
Or Freddy's. I like Freddy's too. Yeah.
Freddy's is good. Steak burger.
Freddy's is good.
Basketball or football?
Football. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Vikings, right? Favorite team, I'm assuming?
Once upon a time, I would have said yes. I've been boycotting the NFL ever since they went woke. So I don't watch football anymore. So, but I was like, I played as a kid growing up. I played football every day. My dream was to be a professional football player. Believe it or not. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I was a big tomboy. Yeah.
That's cool. I had a question. Date night. Stay in or go out?
Probably go out, but mostly because then I can get away from the kids, honestly. Is that bad to say?
No.
I homeschool them. I'm with them 24/7. I want to be out of the house,
Got it. Okay.
Otherwise, I'm totally fine chilling. But
got it. Okay. You're at a high-rise, classy bar. You're all dressed. It's you and your husband. You got one drink you could pick for the night. What are you choosing?
Oh, I don't know that it would. I mean, maybe some kind of martini, but probably just an old fashioned. I'm sort of like a, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Don't fix it. Old fashions are great. Yeah. You ever had a Kentucky Mule?
I haven't. No.
Okay.
The last time I had like any sort of mule, I guess I got very, very drunk, and I don't know how that happened. I was sick, and I had like 2 drinks. So I don't know if I just hadn't eaten enough that day, but I have sworn off mules for a while because it was rough. It was a rough go.
They'll sneak up on you.
I've never had anything like that.
They'll sneak up on you. Yeah. You're given the last meal that you could ever have. What you picking?
Can I have everything? Okay, so I love to eat. I'm kind of a foodie at heart, but I would say like a prime rib with garlic mashed potatoes, and a Caesar salad and creme brulee for dessert.
Oh my goodness! You know what's funny? You have to meet my wife. Literally, you and her are the same person. Homeschool, dry humor, you make sourdough bread all day. Your favorite is both of you her dessert or creme brulee. She loves
that's
creme
100%
wherever she goes.
Oh my god,
it's hilarious. You have to meet my wife. You guys are the same person. It's hilarious.
Awesome.
You're stuck in an island, and you can only bring 3 friends with you that are in the Catholic Twitter circle. Who are you picking?
Oh, Twitter circle. Okay.
You don't have to pick me. You will not hurt my feelings, so exclude me.
Sorry, Lars.
Yeah.
I have to apologize to my husband first.
Yes.
Because he's not really on Twitter. Let's see. Gosh, that's a tough one. You'd have to have Margot so she can scream about chastity. And then, if anyone's tempted, Margot is there.
Margot's awesome.
Margot's the best. And then she can remind us. Jeff, the Supreme Pontiff, for sure. He makes me laugh.
The entertainment. You're gonna have some entertainment.
Yes, we have to have entertainment. And then, yeah, I don't know. Maybe you. We need music. I've got the humor. I've got virtue. And we need music. So I think I'm going to say you.
Talk about a band of misfits.
I told you, that's where my heart's at. No,
That's hilarious.
I forgot Margot hates puns. This is the worst ever, but I love it. I'm keeping
between me and Jeff, she'll build a raft and she'll roll right back into civilization. That's funny. So, is there anything else you want to share with the world before we end this?
Yeah, I guess I'll say that I'm starting season 2 here, coming up this week. And I'm really excited because not only do I have some great interviews lined up, but I have awesome collaborations going on, like Star of the Sea Gifts, Lauren. Everyone knows Lauren from Star of the Sea Gifts. But if you want to order any beautiful rosaries or other gifts, go to her Etsy shop and you can get 10% off using the code integrated10. I have another collaboration coming up here with Jake Fowler's wife, Terry. Hi. Oh my gosh, that's really nice. Thank you. I would say I love you too, but I don't know you, but thank you.
You got a fan.
I've got a fan. Thank you so much. But I have another from what is Our Lady's Closet. So if any of you are looking into more modest,
this is really cool
clothing,
stuff.
So I've got a collaboration coming up there, but also a lot of you have been wondering how to donate to Integrated on a one-time basis instead of ongoing on my Patreon, which if you want, you can find me on Patreon and support me there. But I am in the process of figuring out a way so that you guys can give like a one-time gift. But I have really great episodes coming up, like Dr. John Bruchalski, who was an abortionist or at least committed abortions and became pro-life. And one of my very dear friends is going to talk about the FBI and the FACE Act and all those pro-life activists that have been getting arrested and more. I have a lot of stuff coming up, so I'm really excited. This season 2 is going to be awesome.
Oh, that sounds
so find
so
me
great.
on my YouTube channel and on podcasts.
I have your link tree linked below.
Oh, sweet!
So
that should have pretty much everything. Yeah.
Click on Angela's link tree and find her everything, all of her social media, and she's also on Instagram too. So
and I'm on the Meaning of Catholic now too, so you can find me over there as well. I'm everywhere.
Mac, happy birthday, bud!
Happy birthday, Mac. Okay, Mac is one of my favorites. Go find him on Twitter and everywhere else he is. He's Mac's the best. Hilarious. Mac of all trads. He comes in as a Big Mac and
happy birthday, brother. Well, thanks everyone for checking us, watching, and thank you so much for coming on, Angela. I really appreciate it, taking the time away from your family and hanging out. We got to know you more.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, which is great. So I'm gonna see if I can end it with our. Yep, here we go. End the show.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from this, I gave it to someone special.